Hey, this is Jason from GameSmack, and today I had hands-on with a lot of Xbox One's launch titles. So this is going to be just a quick video going through all the games I played, little impressions, and just stuff like that. First off, I have to note that obviously the controller has some noticeable differences. The analog sticks for one, they're quite a bit smaller. No, well, I don't know if I'd say quite a bit, but they are definitely smaller. They're it took me a bit to get used to. It felt like there's a little less resistance on the analogs compared to the Xbox 360s, but that maybe could just come down to how much it's been used, those controllers, over all these preview events over the last few weeks and months. But it didn't take long though for me to get used to it, and those grooves in the analog sticks they really are nice, because the amount of times I used the Xbox 360 controller, my thumb would just slip and lose grip, and I have to do some sort of weird rigmarole where I'd have to use my other hand to push the stick back up to put my hand back in the groove. It doesn't feel like that didn't happen at all in over about 3 hours I was playing games in, and it didn't feel like I was even close to it. So that was pretty good. But yeah. So the first game I played was Dead Rising 3. This is probably the one I was most looking forward to. So it was definitely the first I ran to jump on and try. And the demo was about 10 or 15 minutes in this small, it seemed like, excuse me, it seemed like a small closed in area of the map, which, I mean, it's fine because it's for the demo purposes, and it ran smoothly at 30, I know it's 30 frames a second and 720p upscaled, but it looked really nice and it ran really, really well. You have a few weapons. The demo itself, you start at level 25. Everything works really quick, really easily. I combined some weapons, I combined some vehicles to get, of course, the roller hog, which was just awesome. There was a nice big ramp. I came up to the ramp, and as I came off the ramp, I used a flamethrower to just make things look more epic or whatnot. As you make your own fun in that game, and there's a lot of fun to be had. In about 15 minutes, I killed around 1,400 zombies. So that kind of gives you an estimate of how many zombies there are on a screen at any one time. There was no load, and there actually was absolutely zero frame rate hitches in the first playthrough. But I went back to try it at the end again, and maybe it was because it was on all day or not. But there was a moment of about 10 seconds where the frame rate it pretty much almost stopped. It seemed like it was crashing. There was a person behind me saying, "Oh, I think we need to reset this," and it stopped after a second or two and then kept going. But I think it was an anomaly rather than what would normally happen. Maybe it was because it was a demo, it's an old build, and it was on all day over and over again. So yeah, other than that, I really did enjoy Dead Rising 3. Like, it was my one game to get for the Xbox One when it comes out, and that hasn't changed. If anything, I'm even more excited for it. I thought, I've been really excited to try all these games, and I thought by the time I get around to it, I'd be like, yeah, I can wait. But I really can't wait to get my hand on that full game now and just see everything. It seems incredibly fun, and it looks like there'll be a lot there to do. I went from something I was really happy with and enjoyed to something I didn't enjoy really at all, which was Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer. I haven't played Call of Duty Ghosts on current gen at all. Just haven't really got around to it, and it hasn't really appealed to me. But I heard a lot of stuff about it doesn't look good, and it's disappointing. It looks last gen or current gen, whatever you want to say it now. And to be fair with you, it does look next gen. The map I was playing on was like this open green area with a castle, like, I know, like medieval warfare stuff, but no, it had this sort of castle area, and then it's like this little farm bit. The map was too big for the players that are playing in. Like, Call of Duty is all about like snap and go, shoot, kill, shoot, and that didn't really happen that much. And the sprint is it's incredibly short duration. Like, you must sprint about 5 to 10 feet and then you stop. Maybe I don't know. Like, it seemed a lot shorter than previous Call of Duty games, but it just, nothing about it felt great. Seems like they're like, oh, incorporate bigger maps. Maybe I think it was only 12 people playing, and I know it incorporates up to 18. Maybe it's 18, 24, I'm not too sure. But it was definitely less than the maximum amount. So maybe that had something to do with the map being a little dull, but still, nothing about it really jumped out to me like saying this is definitely a day one purchase, which is funny because this is the most pre-ordered game for next gen. Like, I don't know, it when you it was literally across the room. The room wasn't that big. Say maybe 100 feet all the way across, and on one end was Call of Duty, and on the other end was Battlefield 4. And even at the Call of Duty station, just looking back over at the Battlefield 4, you can tell that even from that far away, it looks much more superior in terms of visuals. And then, of course, when I got to play it, I did feel that way. But after Call of Duty Ghosts, I decided to try out Zoo Tycoon, which I am looking forward to. I'm a sucker for any stupid, cute, fluffy animal things, and then on top of that, it's a tycoon game. They're incredibly fun, like addicting, and they really take some hours out of your day. And the very first thing I noticed about the game was the frame rate. It was pretty bad. Now, granted, just to say this right now, all these demos and all these builds were probably old builds, but it definitely was kind of slow and it chugged most of the time. I didn't play it for too long, just simply because it's not a game that you can put your hands on for 5 minutes and get a feel of. I called my buggy, which just comes out from behind you on the screen, and I drove around a bit. I saw some elephants, I fed some elephants, saw some giraffes. I then went into tycoon mode, which is seamless. It's pretty fast in that regard. And then I built an enclosure, and I adopted a couple of monkeys, and then I took a picture of the monkeys, and it's fine. If the frame rate is improved, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, like it's gonna fit a niche. It's not for the really hardcore gamers that are buying Call of Duty and Dead Rising and all that. It is more for younger kids and families, and then those who just want to relax. And I can't imagine doing anything on a relaxing night and playing a bit of that game. Maybe it's just, I'm glad it's there. I just hope that it's a little more impressive than what I saw of it. But anyway, moving on. Right beside that boot was Forza 5, and I'm a big Forza fan, and most next gen systems, every single time a new set of systems come out, it's always a racing game, because racing games are quicker and easier to develop, and it's easy to make the game look amazing because they're cars and it looks incredible. But this was the only game as well that had the impulse triggers, and I remembered when I sat down to play it and then immediately forgot, and then the second the race started and I held down on the trigger and the right trigger just shook. I was like, whoa, what the hell? And yeah, it rumbles just like the rest of the controller, but it makes a difference when you really hard jam on that brake and you cause some some friction and traction and whatnot. You can feel it. The left trigger then starts rumbling to indicate that, and it's that sort of, it really helps you if you're like, oh no, I'm braking too hard, I'm accelerating too hard. It's used as a teaching tool to go, no, you're accelerating too hard here and you're braking too hard here. And I think that's a great implementation of that feature. I played just one lap around Laguna Seca. It looks incredible. Forza 4 though was an incredible looking racing game, and obviously you're gonna just see, it's not saying that the improvement of visuals is minor, but they're not going to be as huge jump as other games because Forza 4 looks so good. But otherwise, it did still look incredibly good. I can't wait to jump onto that. It's going to have dozens, if not hundreds of hours of gameplay. So if you're going to buy just one game, I can't see why not that. Then, let's see. Then, jumped over to Battlefield 4, and I enjoy my Battlefield. It's always the, other than a shooter like Halo or something like that, other than those sort of, I don't know if I would call them arcade shooters, arcade first person shooters, just like, they're not the faster paced unrealistic shooters. Battlefield and Rainbow Six are my games, and Battlefield it was on Kovad or no, something like that. It was a very small map. I think it was 12 on 12. No, it wasn't that much. May have been 6 on 6 or something else, but It was a lot of fun. It looks great. It runs very smoothly, 60 frames a second. It's such a huge jump up from the 360 version. If you've played the 360 version, um, you'll probably notice quite a few bugs and a couple of graphical glitches, and then if there's freezing and crashing. But this version just looks incredible, runs really smoothly, and it's definitely the version, like the next gen consoles are the version to play for console versions of it. I'm not going to talk about the PC version for obvious reasons, but yeah, it's definitely a huge step up, more than any upgradable one. Yeah, so then from Battlefield 4, I think it was KINECT Sports Rivals, the wake race. It was the pre-season. It comes free to download the day that the console launches. I had a bit of faith in the original KINECT, and obviously that faith was diminished very quickly after release. So I went in kind of skeptical, like I was thinking, oh, here we go, it's going to try scan me in, it's not going to work, I'm going to raise my hand and it's not going to be able to read it. And it was seamless. Every single bit of it was seamless. The wake race, if you play the KINECT Star Wars, you put your two hands out into turn, you move if you want to turn right, you move your left hand forward and your right hand back, as if mimicking the handlebars of a jet ski or whatnot. And it can read very, very slight movements. Usually in those sort of things you expect to go from one side of the track to the other and bang into the walls on the way, and I didn't have that at all. I drove into a few bombs, but every single time I really did feel like it was my fault. It reads such slight movements, and that is incredibly. See, it's impressive because how much the original KINECT didn't work in that regard, even though it was supposed to. So there's no qualms about, oh, does KINECT 2 work? It works. It's as simple as that, and it was a lot of fun. I had 2 races. Spent the whole day with another journalist going through all these games, and I think we had the biggest laugh with that one. It was a lot of fun, and that's what the original KINECT came down to. It's just having fun with a few people, but it was incredibly fun, and it makes me look forward to KINECT Sports Rivals, the full game, which I was told launches in March. So it's not too much of a wait. It's 4 months from launch, so yeah, this pre-season should tide you over, at least get some enjoyment out of KINECT, because it's the only KINECT game apart from Just Dance 2014 that has those features. So yeah, but from there upstairs there was 2 games. It was Killer Instinct and FIFA 14. And Killer Instinct, look, fighting games are not my thing. They never have been. They never will. Not that I don't like them. Not that I don't think anything good of them. I'm just not good at them. Killer Instinct is a pretty game. It's surprisingly pretty. It looks really, really good. There's great detail. The particle effects are really nice. The move attack, the effects of the moves are really good. And you have a lot of health. Now, it doesn't work round 1, round 2, round 3. If you played Injustice Gods Among Us, it works out as you have 2 bars of health, and that's it. After the first bar, there's a little pause, like after the first bar goes down. So yeah, I played that again with the fellow journalists from sggaming.info. He was kicking my ass at the start, but after a while, I kind of got the hang of it. Like, it was pretty good. I was Jago, he was Saberwolf. No, he wasn't. He was Glacius. It was a lot of fun. Especially, I know you only get one character to download, but it was a lot of fun. It's definitely worth trying out. It's free to play. Even if you just have Jago, just go online a few matches. It's a lot better than I was expecting. So moving on really quickly to FIFA. Yeah, it definitely looks next gen. Players look nice. Crowd is 3D for the first time, which is good. Animations there's definitely more animations. It's more improved. Like something that EA released in a video a while ago is that with the power of next gen, we can now have more than 2 people challenge for the ball in the air, and that was a feature I never knew existed. I never really noticed that only 2 people ever went for the ball with corners. It just never occurred to me, but lo and behold, I was playing it today and that exact thing happened. 2 defenders went up and 1 attacker went up. There's a lot more. There's a much more better flow to the game. Not that FIFA 14 and current gen has a bad flow. It's just this feels more. It just feels more natural. Everything just feels more natural. There's blades of grass. You can see the blades of grass. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, the crowd look nice. It plays really well. It's definitely, so usually with next gen versions, less work is done on them. Like if you remember the first Madden game that came out for the 360, it was atrocious. Even FIFA. But it seems like they put more effort into the next gen version they did in the current gen, which is, I guess, obviously it's good for people getting it, but I guess it goes to show how much faith EA has in next gen and how quickly those systems are going to sell. But yeah, FIFA 14, you can't go wrong with it. It's not hugely different to the current gen version, but it's still nice. Then the game you buy the system for, I went to next. Peggle 2. Peggle 2 is Peggle 1 again, with more levels, more characters. It's just as ridiculous and engaging, and man, it makes you feel good when you beat a level. And yeah, like it's more Peggle, so they haven't really done anything to it, so it's good. It's good that they haven't added any new features to kind of try and make it more deep and whatnot. I really liked it. I only played a level or two, and I mean, I knew straight away it was just more Peggle, so I just wanted to give it a go and just say I had a go of it. And I can't wait for that. It comes out in December, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Between that and Zoo Tycoon and around Christmas, when you just want to relax and you're trying to recover from this next gen, I think there are two games that might go to over the others. But then there was like I was saying earlier, we went to the Call of Duty Ghost multiplayer and didn't enjoy that, but I really enjoyed the Extinction mode. There was another boost set up before systems and Extinction mode, and I really enjoyed that. Like, that was incredibly fun. Like, some say it's like Left 4 Dead. I can see that, and it's a bit like zombies, but much more dynamic and fun. Like zombies, they just walk towards you and hit you twice and you're down. In Extinction, you have a health bar. It does go up if you don't get hit for a while, but it was just incredibly engaging. It was like, it really got me like excited for this game, and it was the only reason why I've considered buying it now. It was like, I was thinking when I first heard the announcement, I was like, oh, they're just trying to do other zombies. It's not going to be as good. It's better than zombies. It's easily better than zombies. It was incredibly fun. And yeah, it was what, about 15-20 minutes I played it, and every single second of those I really enjoyed it, and I got more and more excited for that mode. And just, it's probably its only saving grace, it seems, Call of Duty goes, because the campaign seems and the multiplayer is like, after playing Battlefield, like a few minutes afterwards, it is so far, like such a gap between those two, I feel. But some people still love their Call of Duty over Battlefield. Battlefield is a much like steeper learning curve for Call of Duty's pick up and play, but even now it doesn't feel as much like that, just because these maps are bigger. There's more tactics to it, and it's not a system, it's not really an engine, or it's not really a gameplay style to have more tactics to it. It's just run and gun. It's like adding tactics to an Unreal Tournament or something like that. You just don't. It's all about the smooth gameplay and the fun. But yeah, Extinction mode, I can't say enough good things about that. I was really enjoyed it. And the last thing I jumped onto was Riot Son of Rome, and that game's come a long way. Saw it at E3, I was like, it's pretty, but that's a lot of quick time events, and I got into it. And the first time I played it was what's it called? It's like when you're in the Coliseum, and there's rounds, and everything's dynamic. The layout of the map is dynamic. What you have to do seems dynamic. The first time I just did not know the controls, and I got my ass handed to me. But I also didn't see one quick time event, and that's because you have to initiate the execution to do the quick time event, which, I mean, it's perfectly fine. Like, that happens in a bunch of games. Like, God of War is loved, but God of War is quite quick timey. So anyone who's worried about that game, saying that it's just like, I think Game Informer said it's like dialing phone buttons, because, I don't know, you're phoning it in. I don't know. I don't agree with that. There's a lot more dynamic, like there's much more to the combat system. It's pretty tough. Like, it's kind of a mix between Batman Arkham games and the Assassin's Creed games, but in those games, to give you an indicator above the attacking enemy's head when they're about to attack, to parry them or counter them, that doesn't happen in this game. You just gotta watch their attacks and their movements, and it's much more intense, because they don't hold back. One can be swinging for you, and the second later the other one's swinging for you, so you got to watch when people are attacking. It's much tougher, and it's much more dynamic than I was thinking it would be. But I really did enjoy that more than I thought I would. But after that, before I left, I went back to Dead Rising 3, because it's Dead Rising 3, and man, I played that demo. So, like, the area seems pretty small, but I played that second time around so differently, and I really, really enjoyed that. It really, really, it's just a big sandbox of fun. It really is, and that's the game, like, I'm going to play so much launch day and the subsequent days afterwards. I'm just going to play that over and over again. I'm going to complete. I'm going to get up to level 50. I'm going to start nightmare mode. I'm going to do co-op. I'm going to find someone who's getting the computer, because I don't really know anyone that's getting it. But yeah, that was hands-on with the Xbox One. The controller, as I was saying, the impulse triggers are actually used right. They seem like they'll be incredibly important to some games. I don't know if I meant... No, actually, I don't think I mentioned Loco Cycle. There's a reason for that, and it's because I didn't like it. Yeah, poor old Loco Cycle. I love Twisted Pixel. I've had every single one of their games, from The Maw up until Gunstringer and all that, and the humour doesn't seem to be... not right. It's just not there. The gameplay is just not there. It looks good enough. Yeah, I definitely did not. That game definitely didn't get me at all. Which is unfortunate, but you can't always have a winner. Twisted Pixel. But yeah, so yeah, as I was saying, the controllers, back to the controller, feels really nice. The buttons, the face buttons don't stand out as much. The A, B, X, Y buttons don't stand out as much. There's kind of a stretch to go from the triggers to the bumpers because they're much bigger, but you kind of forget about it after a few minutes, as you would. Really like those analog sticks. They seem great for long gaming sessions, especially online. So yeah, there's some good additions to that controller, and there's some good launch titles coming. Obviously, of the list, the games I talked about, Peggle isn't a launch title. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was playing that wasn't a launch title. Not that I can think of. Anyway, yeah, so Xbox One, it launches next week, 22nd of November, and I will be doing a 12-hour live stream at 1 a.m. of that night. So I will be picking up the console at midnight, going straight home and online for 12 hours, where I'll be playing most of those games. So yeah, that's about it. I will talk to you all again. Bye.